What up, y'all? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? What is good? I feel like we haven't did one of these in forever. Make sure I'm coming through good and everything. Let me know. I'm in the chat right now. For the next few minutes, you guys say what's up to me. If you are getting this, if you're not getting this, what's up, April? Refresh the page. I see Kim is here. I see Norma is here. I see uh, Coach Rhonda is here. What up, Michael is here. Is it Nadea? I hope I said your name right. Sarah. I think I know you by Sarah Moore. Uh, Pam is in the building. What's up? How's everybody doing? Let's see what we got here. Hey, what's up, Ashley? What up, Victoria? Is it cool? I'm just trying to get all these things together right quick. Turn this on mute. Get the chat rocking. Cool. All right, guys. So I'm very excited today. I'm talking about know your worth. And today is going to be, well, first of all, let's just recap on everything this year. I want to say I'm proud of everybody. I'm proud of all of you for sticking with this. I'm proud of all of you for showing up. Sorry, the sun is coming through a little bit. Let me see if I can. There we go. I'm sorry. I'm proud of you for sticking with it. I know it's hard. Like life is hard. I don't ever want to make it seem like life is easy. Like if it's easy for me, life is hard. And sticking with something, staying committed, staying consistent, having that championship mindset that I talk so much about. It's funny I have this shirt. I forgot I had this shirt on. Right, staying loyal to what you said you're going to do is key. And there's no change without commitment. There's no change without consistency. So I want to say I'm proud of every one of you for making the change in your life. I want you to give yourself credit. Like, I can't make the change for you, right? I can't change your life. Only can influence change. So I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the community. I'm grateful for the camaraderie that I always see in the group. And I'm grateful for you guys for being patient with me because this last 2 months has been crazy. It's going to continue to be crazy, to probably maybe towards the end of the year. I have a new dog now. We have a baby coming. The new book is doing great. I mean, a lot of great stuff, but my life has been the busiest it's ever been. And I'm happy. I'm happy about it. It's overwhelming, but I'm happy at the same time. So today, I want to talk about something that's super special to me. And if you've been following me forever, I've always said, know your worth, know your worth, know your worth. Like I probably named like 30 videos, know your worth. And know your worth is to me the foundation of self-worth. When I started to understand like what knowing your worth was all about, and I started to actually live that and reflect that, my life changed. And we're going to talk so much. Like today's going to be different. I'm actually going to read a little bit to you today because this is special because I actually wrote a book called Know Your Worth that I never put out. But I have a lot of content about it, but I never put out the book. Who knows, I might put it out later. But I was going over some notes to prepare for today, and I realized that like the first part of knowing your worth, the foundation, like I could say it, but I was like, man, I wrote this, like you'll hear it. It's so perfect, I believe, to actually set in the tone. So what I'm going to do for this first, 10 minutes, 15 minutes is actually going to read this chapter. It'll probably take me 10 minutes, but I really want you to like pay attention. I'm going to stop. I'm going to skip around the chapter and things like that. But I really want you to dial in and make sure you take notes. Again, I know I don't have to reiterate this, but I reiterate this all the time, even when I'm on stage. Information is great, right? It's needed. Inspiration is great. But those two things by themselves ain't enough. And those two things together is not enough to create transformation. If we want to transform our lives, we have to create implementation, right? That's the third I that we have to do. The only way you can create implementation is by writing down, taking notes, and by applying and putting action to your life. I know you heard me say this and echo this over and over and over again, but I always want to remind us that we're not here just to be inspired, right? That's part of it. I want to inspire you. But in order to impact your life, in order to create impact in someone's life, they have to be transformed. The only way you can be transformed is you actually apply and implement the things that you're learning. So if you guys are ready, say straight up. Let me check out the chat for a little bit. I want to interact with you guys a little bit more than me just like going straight for an hour. So we'll have an hour together, 45 to an hour together, then I'll do Q&A at the end. I want to save more time for that to make sure I answer you guys' questions. Okay, Rebecca says straight up. The boss of you, Miss Pam, says straight up. Susan says straight up. So it's funny because every time I speak now, I make the crowd say straight up, right? Like I was speaking at this Farmers Insurance agency yesterday or Tuesday, and I had the whole crowd saying straight up. So after they were like taking pictures, they're like straight up, Trent, straight up. And it was like older, you know, not race wise, but even like an older black man that's like, you know, like my dad saying straight up Trent, or older white man, or Mexican, or whatever it may be, but like an older person saying that. It's just funny to me, but it's super cool. So, all right, let's get right into this. So let me put up these notes. So how today is going to flow, I'm going to read at first, okay? Like I said, it won't be too long because I think I'm a decent reader. But I want to definitely pause in the reading to articulate certain things. So the first part of this will be the foundation of worth. What do you mean by that, Trent? The foundation is what I believe, right, worth is made up of. And you're going to see, I believe worth is made up of two things. Okay, two things. That's the foundation. And we're going to go from there. And one of these things, we already did the training over it. So if you just go back to that training, you can build yourself in that area. Then the second part, I did surveys with people. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm not sure if you guys were following me then, but I did surveys with my audience, and I asked questions like, why don't you know your worth? What are your struggles with worth? And so I'm going to attack the main questions, the main answers that I got. And then after that, I'm going to give you guys steps, right? Action steps to do to actually, you know, make sure you know your worth. Make sure you know your worth. All right, so let's get right into this. And I appreciate you guys for riding with me. And remember, take cool notes and tag me on Instagram, because I'm always reposting people's stories, and you know, maybe it might be you. I'm always doing that. So remember, this is a book. You guys, man, this is exciting because you guys are getting a book that I never put out. Nobody's heard this information before. So let me this is just, of course it's gonna seem kind of weird because I'm reading it as I would write it, right? So it goes like this. Listen, I don't want to waste no time. So I'm going to talk slow, by the way. Let's get right into this as real as I can put it. The major difference from what you're getting versus what you deserve in your life is knowing your worth, period. Because once you truly know how incredible you are, you will never settle for less. And I want to be clear. This book isn't a magic formula to never question your worth again. And I want to be clear with you here. Like, even this, like, you're going to go through times where you question your worth. I go through times where I still question my worth, but I have this foundation now that when I question my worth, right? Facts over feelings. I remember the facts about my life. So we can't necessarily control the storms, but I promise you this, we can make sure those storms don't control us. The first step to knowing your worth, write this down, is understanding worth. Understanding what influences worth, because once you understand it, it becomes a lot easier to manage it. Okay, it becomes a lot easier to manage it. I've been blessed enough to be able to help thousands of people. And throughout all the coaching, all the conversations, all the interactions, I discovered that there's two root issues. Now, there's a lot of surface level stuff, but there's two root issues when it comes to people not knowing their worth. Y'all ready for it? Write it down. Number one was acceptance. And number two was confidence. Everybody struggled with the acceptance of self, and everybody struggled with the confidence in self. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of surface level issues that play into people not knowing their worth. And we're going to address a lot of that later on today, well, in this book, but the book hasn't came out yet. Who knows, I might put it out. Where was I at? Okay, yeah. But if we don't understand the root issues first, the problems will always find its way back to the surface. So we're going to spend this whole time together. Let me skip that part. Okay. When I elevated my life from rock bottom, after spending years of digging to my root issues, there were two main influences of me not knowing my worth. I didn't accept myself, and I had no confidence in myself for many reasons. But when I strengthened those two things, my life changed. That's what this not course, but this training is going to do, in this book, if it ever comes out, it's going to do for you too. Okay. You're going to own yourself. You're going to know yourself, and you're going to love yourself. Accepting less for your life is forever going to be unacceptable. So make a decision right now that you're going to give your all to making these changes in your life, because change isn't possible without making changes. You guys heard me say that 1,000 times. So if you're all in, what I need you to do right now, okay, is write down the definition of acceptance. Okay, write it down. Acceptance means embracing something in all aspects. Okay, do y'all hear that? Embracing something in all aspects, not just parts, right? Embracing something in all aspects. Being in complete agreement with, giving your full support of approval. To put it in a Trent term, acceptance means that you're good with who you are in all aspects. So not just the perfections, but also the imperfections. Not just when you're at your best, but also when you're at your worst. Not just the gains, but also the losses. I want you to understand this. Okay, I will write this in bold letters right now. Acceptance is power. Because when you accept yourself, you free yourself. You're no longer in that prison of your past. You're no longer in that prison of opinions. You're no longer in that prison of failure. Your life is no longer your life. Write this down. I'm sure you're writing all this down, but really write these. The things I say, write it down, because these are going to be triggers for you. Your life is no longer controlled by your limitations because it's being guided by your aspirations. Whew. Tina Lifford has a quote that says this, and it's powerful. When you know yourself, you become empowered. When you accept yourself, you are invincible. Oh, man, I'm gonna read that again. When you know yourself, you become empowered, right? But when you accept yourself, you become invincible. And she's right on point. Acceptance of self is the foundation for your greatness. And I'll tell you why. It influences these three things that allow you to live your life being the best you. Write down these three things. Number one, acceptance of self influences freedom. There's no greater freedom than freely being yourself. It's incredible when you can go from being a prisoner of your past to being empowered by your past. It's incredible when you can go from hating who you are to loving who you are. It's incredible when you can go from the worst you to your best you. A life without limitations is just a life full of elevation. Like, sit back for a minute and just imagine your life, right? Just imagine your life without limitations. Just imagine love without limitations. Just imagine your dream without limitations. How much different would your life be if you were able to live free? How much different would your life be if you were able to live free? Think about that for a second. And this is all of us, even myself, because there's things in my life where I'm not completely free from. There's things that I still struggle with, just like you. But if we were able to live in complete freedom, how much different would your life be right now? Think about that. So that was number one. Number two, acceptance of self influences focus. It's a lot easier to grow yourself when you're not doubting yourself. What you focus on is what you will feel. I know you heard that a million times from me. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your focus. If you're focused on your limitations, you're going to live a very limited life, right? If you're focused on your limitations, you're going to live a very limited life. If you're focused on your progressions, you're going to live a very progressive life. Your life is controlled by what you focus on. And you might be thinking right now, this is easier said than done, but I promise you this. All right, by the end of this, you're going to get it. Number three, all right? Number three, under the acceptance umbrella. Acceptance of self influences faith. When there's a lack of faith, there's a lack of life. A fulfilled life is a faithful life. An empty life is a faithless life. I will write that down. If you don't accept yourself, you're not going to believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to better yourself. But when you believe that there's more to your life, you'll end up becoming more in life. Faith is everything, period. In order for us to live our highest capabilities, we must see beyond what we see visually. And I realized this with my life, that things become more clear when you're not blinded by your insecurities. So now you see how just right? How important acceptance of self is, right? We talked about those three things. Make sure you have those down. If you don't have them, I can repeat them to you right quick, right? So number one, acceptance of self influences freedom. Number two, acceptance of self influences focus. Number three, acceptance of self influences faith. Okay, so let's go to the second root issue, and then I'll be through reading, and I'll get into pour it into you guys. Are you guys getting stuff from this? I felt this was very powerful and informational, so I was like, I have to like give it to them just like I wrote it, because I just feel like there's a lot in this that you guys can take. So, and I'm not afraid to do that. I know some speakers will be like, oh, I want to read, but it's my words, you know. So I want to give it to you in the exact way that I wrote this. So, and then I'll pour it to you guys just like without it at the end while I break down steps. Cool, you guys are getting it, great. So where was I at? All right, cool. So the second root issue of you knowing your worth. All right, second thing is confidence in self. Write down this definition of confidence. Confidence is a feeling of self-assurance, and I believe we talked about this in the confidence training. Confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So what confidence means to me is simply knowing that you're enough, period. That's how I break it down. Because once you know you're enough, you will stop accepting not enough. Once you know that you're enough, you will stop accepting not enough. Once you believe that you're enough, right? Once you believe that you are enough, you will stop accepting not enough. Once you know that you're enough, you will start to step up. Whew. Once you know you're enough, you'll start to step up. I love it. Like Lil Wayne said in his song, I don't care at the top of the stairs, I'm stepping up. I just used a Lil Wayne quote, I sure did. But that's confidence, right? You don't care what's at the top of the stairs. You don't care if it's haters. You don't care if it's struggle. You don't care if it's opinions. You stepping up regardless, and that's what it takes in life, right? Confidence is power, just like acceptance. Greatness in all aspects of life is not possible without confidence. True confidence is a reflection of you knowing your worth. In my opinion, it's one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. And understand, the goal isn't to get people to see how great you are. The goal is to get you to believe in how great you are. Y'all see that? The goal isn't to get people to believe in you. It's to get you to believe in you. And that's something that you guys know because you guys are rehabbers. You know this. Your TICers. I talk about this a lot. But I want to be clear. I don't want you thinking confidence is getting people's validation and all these things. No, it's you believing in yourself. It's time for you to set the tone in your life. Confidence is not about being liked. Confidence is being fine whether they like you or not. And at the end of this book, training, trust me, you're going to have some confidence. Believe that. Just like acceptance influences things, confidence reduces things. So three things, okay? Write these three things down that confidence reduces. The first thing is it reduces is fear, okay? And I've talked about fear so much that I think you guys get it. I don't have to dial in about fear, okay? But fear will keep you from success. Fear will keep you from love. Fear will keep you from growth. Fear will keep you from freedom. You know, what would your life look like if fear wasn't a factor in your life? Right? What would your life look like if fear wasn't holding you back? Because fear is one of the main factors that holds us back from all the great things in our life. The second thing confidence reduces is self-doubt. Understand, accomplishment is 80% belief and 20% of figuring the rest out. 80% belief and 20% of figuring the rest out. Okay? And I could do it right now. I might as well do it right now while it's on my heart. Actually, remind me to give you some confidence tips at the very end because I want to stay on track because I'll go into that and we'll be there for like a 90 minutes and I want to even finish this. But understand accomplishment is 80% belief and 20% of figuring the rest out. So that means that more than half the battle is won if all you do, man, I'm sorry guys. I'm sorry. I'm getting fired up. I'm trying to control it, but this is powerful, right? So all that means, right, 80% of belief and 20% of figuring the rest out, all that means is that half the battle is won if you just believe that you can win. Half the battle is won if you just believe that you can win. Do you hear that? And this is what knowing your worth is all about, right? That belief, that confidence. I'm going to say it again. Half the battle is won if you just believe that you can win. right? Man, it's possible, right? Through Christ who strengthens me. 4:13 Philippians, like you just believe that. Man, I pause right there because I want y'all to get that how strong belief is. Like the lack of belief can control your life, but the power and the belief that in yourself, right? Because God created you and your greatness can really push you forward. But so many of us, we flip it. Let me get back to this, man. Let me hold on. Let me get back to this, guys. So that means, right? Think about that. But so many people don't got that 80% because they lack confidence. How would your life look if confidence was leading you instead of self-doubt? How would your life look if confidence was leading you instead of self-doubt? What would be different in your life if you wasn't doubting yourself so much? Right? By the end of this training, hopefully that is removed. Hopefully the confidence training, the first training we did, helped you with that. The last thing confidence reduces is worry, right? Third thing. The last thing confidence reduces, what up, Scott? How you doing, man? Is worry. When you know you're equipped to break through, whew, man. When you, I'm about to put out this, I'm sorry. This is some powerful words. I'm patting myself on the back on this one, guys. I usually don't do that, but I need to put out this book. When you know you're equipped to break through, you don't have to worry about breaking down. Man, when you know you got what it takes, you don't have to worry about not being able to do what it takes. Knowing that you're enough will have you worrying less. And that's the goal of this whole training, to make sure you know that you're enough, to make sure that you know you're loved, right? To make sure you love yourself, and to make sure we remove anything that makes you feel any different. That's what knowing your worth is all about. Okay? So to recap it, foundation of worth, because I really want you guys to understand this. It's two things. It's the acceptance of self, right? And we talked about what acceptance influences, those three things. What was it? Freedom. I'll repeat in a second. Okay, those three things. And then we talked about confidence, the other part of it, what confidence reduces. It reduces fear, right? All those things. So make sure that you understand this, because this is the foundation of you knowing your worth. This is what worth is all about. So what I want to do right now, you guys get it? Jennifer saying, yes, I see the fire sign. Put the book out. I knew y'all was going to say that. I'm already working on my second book right now, straight up. So that's coming out next year. So we're there. So hopefully that will come out. If you want to read the book, yeah, Don't Fear is in the Bible like 300. Yeah, man. So let me read this right quick and then we'll get into the training. So this is what I did, a survey, and you guys let me know if you guys agree with this, because I feel like a lot of us, right, can actually attest to this. So I asked this question. I'll ask you, you can write it down too in the comments as we're going through this. But the question that I asked was, what has kept you from knowing your worth? Right? And so the main answers that I got from majority of people, no particular order, but one was self-confidence, right? People said self-confidence. Majority wrote this one, so what's the holdup? I can't just put it out, Cheryl. I can't yet. I haven't perfected it. It would come soon on the perfect timing. God's perfect timing. But let me get back to this. I gotta start reading y'all's comments because I'll get sidetracked. But the things that have kept people from knowing their worth: self-confidence, right? Not having the self-confidence, low self-esteem. Another thing that kept people from knowing their worth is the people you love not valuing you. Can anybody agree with that? Number 3 was expectation of others not met. People not feeling like they're not enough. And if you listen to these, you'll realize that a lot of that pretty much all of these ties into acceptance and confidence. 4th was the relationships I was in, not knowing, broken relationships. Another thing was distractions of people around me. Another one was unknown, not feeling confident in your own ability. And the last 2 was not knowing my true identity. And then my past experiences and watching my role models live their life. And I believe that was about basically seeing people they looked up to in a bad place. So they had no faith in something better. They had no example of greatness. They had no example of becoming the greatest person that they can become because their examples wasn't given that. So the second question I asked people was, what is your biggest struggle with knowing your worth? And these were the answers that I got. And I'm reading you guys' comments too. Self-confidence was one for acceptance. What up, Scott? Belief in what others said about me as a child, low self-confidence, my environment, my disability was the ability I, yep, accomplished. Let's see what else we got. We need that. My childhood trauma is what brought me to my low self-esteem. Yeah, see, I mean, they're all tied into the same stuff, right? What was the biggest struggle with knowing your worth? Okay, these were the biggest struggles that people said. Connected in today's society, so comparison, right? Comparison. Not believing it because of outside influences, not fitting the image. So people felt like if they weren't a certain type of size or weight or had a certain type of position, they didn't believe that they were worthy. Third thing was guilty, not feeling worthy because of my past. Whew. Anybody can relate to that? I know I can. Next one was self-doubt, not believing in my greatness. Another one was how I was being treated. I don't deserve because of my past. Another one was measuring my life. Someone said, well, a lot of people said, obviously, because I did this for a lot of people. Corporate America, not feeling enough, so not being treated fairly at their job. And the last one with the biggest struggle with not knowing their worth is not being where they want to be. And I'll go through, I'll go through this next question then I'm going to get into some tactics for you guys. So the next question, the third one was, what does knowing your worth mean to you? And I want you guys to answer this question because I will be reading the comments. So these are the answers that I got. Truly loving myself no matter what, valuing yourself. God loves me and that's okay. And it's okay to love me too. What I deserve and what I'm willing to put up with. Being at peace, letting go of judgment. How it was created. The value of yourself, moral standards, beliefs, sticking to it. Total belief in yourself, knowing you're enough, alignment with God. And knowing that you can do whatever. Knowing you were created for purpose. Okay? So let me read you guys these questions. Does being the size compared to other people make me feel? Setting limited beliefs. Scott said that. Yes. Having faith in myself. Love. Facts. Not being where I want it to be. Cool. So, all right, guys. So I want to give you guys 7 things. Okay? 7 things on, like, when you know your worth, you're doing these things regardless, okay? And I want you to write these things down, and we have the foundation for, like I said, go back to that confidence training. You were like, oh, how do I build my confidence? Go back to that first training. If you don't know how to do it, inboxes will figure that whole part out. But go back to that confidence training and understand that. So we have the foundation set. And a lot of you guys, as I see, Shane, right? Everything you're saying goes under that umbrella. Right? The root issues is acceptance of self. You don't accept yourself because of your past, because of how someone treated you, and you have no confidence in yourself because maybe someone didn't believe in you, because you feel guilty, whatever. It all comes back to those 2 things. And so I know this for a fact. When I changed my life, when I went from, not knowing my worth to actually knowing my worth, and not just knowing it, but actually living my worth, I did these 7 things. And it's not just limited to these 7 things, but these are 7 things that I definitely can say that really helped my life, and I want to share with you guys, okay? If y'all ready, say straight up, I've been putting down my ability because of my disability. Cool. So number 1, the thing you have to understand when you are living your worth and you know your worth, you were created with worth. And you've heard me talk about this, guys, but I need you to understand it. I don't know if you're spiritual, but I'm spiritual and I'm your coach. So I got to talk about, my relationship with God. But when I built my relationship with God, when my relationship with God got stronger, when I understood like the promises in his word, when I understood like how he created us, when I understood that, it changed my life. Because, which we'll talk about in a minute, I thought that I had to be certain things in order to have worth in my life. I thought I had to go obtain worth. I thought I had to go seek it out. And so many people think that. So many people don't know that you were created with worth at birth. And you heard me say this 1,000 times. You were created with worth at birth. Write that down. Like, you were born on purpose, for purpose. Like we talked about in my book, I talk about this a lot. You don't have to search for these things. You were given these things. But what happens is that instead of going to the one who created us, right? We don't go to the one who created us, our creator. We go to manipulators. We go to haters. We don't go to our creator. We go to the world. We go to society to tell us how we should feel about ourselves. We take these things in instead of going to the one who created us. What did the one who created you tell you about that? I mean, tell you about yourself. Research that. And whatever you believe in, you believe in. But as me being a man of God and believing in God, believing in Christ, like that's where I go. Right? I go to the one who created me. So I can understand the truth about my life, about myself, because it's easy to believe the lies. It's easy to get caught up in society. It's easy to get caught up in this world. And listen, everybody said I need to go to God more often. We all do. We all do. There was a time in my life where I feel like I was talking about God. I was talking about God and not talking to God enough. I was talking about God enough, but I wasn't talking to God enough. So when I strengthened my relationship, you guys know my story. When I strengthened my relationship in that area, and I realized, like, wait a minute, I was created with this. I don't have to go find it somewhere. I don't have to go buy it. I don't have to sell myself short. I don't have to be something I'm not to boost my self-esteem, to feel like I have value. You're valuable because you were created with value. You're not valuable because how someone treats you. You're not valuable because of a blue check by your name. You're not valuable because of your platform. You're valuable because how someone created you. So when you know your worth, you live like that. You don't depend on outside things, which I'm going to talk about in just a second. I'm already going there. You don't depend on that. Okay. And just to go there, number two, okay, when you know your worth, you don't depend on external validation. When you know your worth, as we talked about, where people's main problems of them not knowing their worth, a lot of that dealt with external validation. They don't feel recognized. They don't feel accepted. People are treating them a certain type of way. And too often we go outside of ourselves to make ourselves feel a certain way about ourselves. I hope that made sense in saying that. But we go outside of ourselves to boost our self-esteem. Why? It's called self-esteem. It should come from within, how you feel about yourself. But we look for these external validations. We look for people to believe in us. We look for people to say, oh, you're beautiful. And listen, these things are great. These things sound good. Like I love compliments. We all do. But if you're dependent on compliments to make you feel a certain way about yourself, you're going to always feel like less. Okay, if you're allowing compliments, if you're allowing people's opinions, if you're allowing status, if you're allowing, all these external things to make you feel a certain way about yourself, you're never going to know your worth, because now your worth is everywhere outside of you. It's everywhere except the place it should be coming from. Okay, so tap back into that. Stop worrying about these external validations from everything outside of you. And you might say, Trent, like I get it, but it's hard, man, when you're, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. I'm actually skipping around right now because I'm talking and it's tying into the next point. With the next point, which, let me see, hold on. Cool. I don't even have this in here, actually, so I want to go ahead and say this. A lot of times our external validations depend on our environments, right? And so when you know your worth, you create a worth environment. It's hard to feel like you're worth it when you're around things that make you feel worthless. It doesn't matter how much you believe in God, right? I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter, but it's hard when you have something that's constantly tearing you down, right? It's harder. It does matter. I don't want to say it doesn't matter because that's the word way to put it, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. Like you can, get into the word, you can, but if you have evil in your household every single day, or you have evil in your circle, or if you have somebody telling you're nothing, someone beating you down, someone telling you if you have an environment of worthless, right? If you have an environment that makes you feel worthless, it's hard to feel like you're worth anything. It's like the flower that I always talk about, that I always illustrate with that flower. That flower can have all the worth in the world, but you put that flower in a worthless environment, that flower is going to turn into a worthless flower because it cannot grow into worth if it's an environment of worthless. Okay, if it's an environment that makes them feel worthless. So you have to create an environment of worth. And I know that's hard. I know that might seem impossible, but the only impossibilities that exist are the ones that you create. You have to make hard decisions in your life. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the best decisions. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the exact decisions that you need to make to better and strengthen your life. You have to make these decisions. And I've been there. I'm not just talking to just tell you this. I had to make those decisions. I still have to make some of those decisions in my life. So you want to create an environment. We talked about a growth environment. Y'all know what that is. But you want to create an environment of worth. People that remind you, like I'm doing right now, right here, this is an environment of worth. This people are on here. You see all the mindsets are contagious. Right in here, you see all the support, me pouring into you. TIC is an environment for you. But this shouldn't be the only environment because this is your online environment. We got to create that offline environment. And that's going to take some hard decisions. But as write this quote down. Some of you see me put this quote on my Instagram. Sometimes in life, you have to make decisions that will hurt your heart, but will heal your soul. Sometimes in life, you have to make decisions that will hurt your heart, but heal your soul. Okay? Next thing I want to talk about. When you know your worth, you fully accept yourself. Now, we just talked about acceptance. But when you know your worth, you fully accept yourself. What do you mean, Trent? Well, you accept your past. You accept your failures. You accept your mistakes. You accept all of that because you own it. You have a choice in life. Either you can own it or it can own you. Either you can surrender to your pain or you can make your pain surrender to you. And yes, it's hard. Both of them are hard. But you got to choose your heart in life. But when you fully accept yourself, right, you free yourself. Because now, whether it's people's judgments, whether it's your own judgment of yourself, that's gone. You're not worried about that. How I was able to get to the place where I am now, I use my past. We talked about that in the last influencer training about like turning your pain into power, into profit. But I use my past because I fully accepted that. I say, you know what? I can't do anything about it. But you know what? How can I find the power in it? So I don't think I talked about this in the last training. Maybe I did, but I want to reiterate this right now. People say, how do I turn my pain into my power? How do I fully accept myself? How do I do it? And how you do it is you find a powerful, empowering meaning in that pain. Because sometimes we're good at finding the limitations in the pain. We're good at saying why this pain hurt me or why I'm a victim because of this pain. We're good at that. But how is that serving your life? How is that helping you? How is that helping you know your worth? So if I'm you right now, if I'm not accepting myself because of my past, what I am doing right now in my mind, I'm thinking about how did that thing or that person or that situation or that chapter make me better? How did it strengthen my life? If it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be this. And I'm not talking about that limited version of you this. I'm talking about that greatest you version of you this. Use an example, Trent. My story. If it wasn't for me losing football, I wouldn't be right here in front of your face right now. Right? It led me here. Sometimes it takes the most uncomfortable path to lead your life to the most beautiful place. Sometimes you have to lose certain things to gain better things. Some things have to end so better things can begin. I will echo those words until the day that I leave this earth. Okay, so fully accept yourself. You got disabilities, accept yourself. Because guess what? You can turn that disability into your greatest ability. You think I'm lying? Research, I forgot Nick's last name. I just spoke to him last week. The guy has no arms, no legs, nothing. He's a bodybuilder. And he goes around the world inspiring people. That's an example of turning your disability to your greatest ability. So you have that choice. And I'm not trying to, undermine your pain. I'm not trying to undermine it, but I cannot keep you in a place where you think my life is over because of this. No, use this. How can you use it to better your life? How can you use it to better other people's lives that's even more impactful, not just yours? Turn your discipline into your greatest ability. That's what you fully accept yourself. You own yourself. You believe in yourself. You accept yourself because you know you were created by an incredible God. Okay, so if y'all get that, say straight up. I'm getting fired up over here. The next one, when you know your worth, okay, when you know your worth, you don't settle for less. And I know you heard this 1,000 times. We just released a shirt, Never Settle, that a lot of you got. But when you know your worth, this is in every aspect of life. This is in, every aspect, from business to personal relationships to friendships, period. You don't settle for less, right? You know how hard you've worked. You know where you want to go. You know just how incredible you are because you know what? You have confidence in self and you've accepted self because that's the foundation of knowing your worth. So you're not going to settle for less because when you settle for less, you will end up stressed. When you settle for less, guess what? You'll catch yourself in some mess. When you settle for less, I promise you, you will put yourself in a place that you will be depressed, that you will be questioning yourself. You'll put yourself in a place of lack of belief when you settle for less. You should never have to lower or lessen who you are to make people or an environment comfortable with your life. Don't settle for less. In business, don't settle for less. With yourself, don't settle for less. From a health standpoint, and I'm talking to Trent Sheldon right here too, right? Me too. I got to settle for less from a health standpoint. I got to get more on point. I got to get more on par with myself because I'm settling for less. I'm not the greatest me in the health wise. I'm a better me, but I'm not the greatest me. And I ask myself, why not be? Like, we get one life here. One life. Why not try to seek what that greatest you is? And I'm not trying to like tie in the book in here because the book doesn't talk about this. But like, why not go seek the greatest you? Why settle for less from our personal lives? Like, why? Like, why settle for less in a relationship? Because, oh, you know what? Well, at least I have a relationship. I'd rather have a relationship than be single. But the relationship is an environment that makes you feel worthless, and you're settling for that. A little is not better than nothing when it comes to stuff like that. I would rather have nothing, right, than a little bit that's toxic. A little bit of toxic is not better than nothing. We have to understand that. Same thing with friendships. Same thing with your job. I'm not saying to walk and quit your job, but if you're in a job that you're selling for, do you want to live the rest of your life in that job? You're not going to be happy. There's no way. Like, you don't know your worth. Go seek other opportunities, right? Go build. Like what I did, I had to work at 24-hour fitness. I knew that was me selling for less. Nothing wrong with 24-hour fitness, anybody who works there. But for me, I knew that was selling for less because I knew the capabilities in my life. I knew what God had called me to do. I knew what my purpose was, right? I knew what the avenue was. I knew what my placement was in my life. I knew what it was, but you know what? I was afraid. I was afraid to go seek. I was afraid to step out in fear. I was afraid to live in faith. So what did I do? I settled for less. I stayed in a place of uncomfortable, right? Uncomfortableness. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to use it right now. I settled in a place of being uncomfortable because I was afraid to take that step. I was afraid to move my life forward. So I sat there and I worked the job that I hated. When I was playing arena football, and I hated it. I literally went to practice. I had to wear a tinted visor because under that, I would have tears some days because I hated being there. But I was so afraid to let go. I was so afraid because that was my identity. And I had these false identities on my life. And I was so afraid to figure out who Trent was without that false identity. I was afraid to face that person in the mirror. So I decided to live in a place that was very uncomfortable. I decided to settle for less. I decided to not live my worth because I was afraid to take a step in faith. And so I'm not telling you to go quit your job or anything like that, but when you know your worth, you don't settle for less. You should be right now, okay, I know what I was called to be. Let me figure this out. Let me put in the work. Let me spend extra 30 minutes a day. Let me spend an extra hour a day. Let me spend an extra 15 minutes a day. Let me do something. Like, I get it. For a lot of you, you might think I'm your hero. Okay, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I've heard this before from people. I don't want to be your hero. I don't. I want to be an example for you. I want to be influential to you. But you know what? I don't want you to have a hero outside of yourself. I want your hero to be you. When you go look yourself in the mirror, you become your own hero. I want to know that. When you going to be the hero of your own story? Because I'm going to tell you right now, ain't no superhero, unless it's God, ain't no superhero going to swoop in and really just save your life. It's your story, right? God gave you the pen to write it. God gave you the power to turn the page. But you have to be your own hero. When are you going to wake up, step up, and become your own hero? You know, I talked about it last night on Instagram. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going from my heart right now, like I always am, but I'm sorry. But I just want to stay on this because it's powerful right now, and God is working through me. I know He is. I know somebody out of all y'all needs this, or who watches it later in TIC needs it. But I see so many people idolize people. I see so many people, you know, are influenced by people in a toxic way, not in a positive way. And that person becomes their hero. They put that person on the pedestal, and they just sit back and just feel good with just, you know, just following that person. And that's how they live the rest of their life. You know, I had a thing in me. I don't know what it was, but I always wanted to be my own hero. I even feel comfortable wearing jerseys with people's names on the back. I said, I want to be the star in my life. Now, I can have influences and coaches and people to help me become that star, but I don't want nobody else to be the star in my life. So when are you going to be your own hero? When are you going to stop settling for less and you wake up and you realize that you were created and you were made for more? But as long as you settle for less, you'll never realize You will never realize that you were made for more. Okay? If y'all get that, say straight up. When you know your worth, whew, I'm sweating in here now, man. Are you guys with me? Are you guys getting something from today? I want to know. Are you guys getting something from today? And save the questions for in about 15 minutes. I'll answer all questions. Cool. Oh, man. You're so welcome. I'm just reading y'all's comments. Preacher, tears of joy here. Kristen, I appreciate you. Heck yes. You know you're worth 5. You set up for less. Man, thanks, Michael, for writing these out, brother. I appreciate you, man. I'm moving. Man, okay. Awesome. So, the next one. Michael, man, I appreciate you, brother. And we got to have that call, okay? Remind me of that after tonight in my inbox because we got to have that call for being the TI Sierra of the month. And Pam, I believe you too. Been so busy these last few months. It's been crazy. But a few more things when you know your worth, right? When you know your worth, you believe, and I know this is obvious, and I kind of already touched on this, but you believe in yourself. You freaking believe in yourself. You don't, that's the part of that confidence, right? Confidence reduces fear, reduces all those things. But you freaking believe in yourself, right? You're not worried about everybody just believing in you, but you step up to the plate and you believe in your life. You stop thinking about all the limitations. You stop thinking about, because what I say, when you focus on limitations, you will live a very limited life. When you focus on the progressions, you will live a very progressive life, right? What you focus on is what you will feel. But it's time for you guys, and I know a lot of you are here now. I know a lot of you are starting to believe in yourself, but you got to believe in yourself to the max. You got to have confidence when you show up. Like, think about it. Think about it, an area in your life where you have maximum belief. Think about it. And I don't want to go too in depth here because it'll take a while to actually break this down, but I want you to break it down. Like, this is like your work for the night. Like, think about an area where you have maximum confidence. Like, you don't even, like, it could be driving for all I care. Like, just the area. It could be changing diapers, whatever it is. And ask yourself, why do I believe in myself when I do this? Like, why? Like, and figure that out. Figure out, find an area where you don't believe in yourself, where you probably should be, and where you do believe. And figure out what's the differences there. I know the answer, but I want you to figure that out. And you'll start to see a common thread of things when you, like, in the things that you have maximal belief in, when you believe in yourself to do it, you will see a common theme. So what I would do is, whatever it is, maybe it's 2 or 3 things that you believe in yourself when you're doing it, right? Maybe it's your job, like you got it down pat. Like I said, maybe it's driving, maybe it's, I don't know, cutting the grass, like whatever it is. Maybe it's speaking on stage. Like, write down, like, why do I believe in myself so much when I'm doing this? Why do I believe in myself so much? And you'll see a direct opposite. Probably those things, the whys that show up in your belief, probably don't show up in your lack of belief. The whys that show up in your belief probably don't show up in your lack of belief. So really think about that. Like, tonight, please do that. Like, please spend tonight doing that. And how you shift that, you evaluate it and you say, okay, well, let me start bringing these whys to my lack of belief. Let these whys show up over here now. And over time, you'll start to believe more in yourself. You have no reason not to believe in yourself. Like, because somebody told you weren't going to, because failure, because your past, because of all of that stuff, like, change. And I don't know if I even said this, I was talking so much, but change the meaning, right, of your past. Like, I did talk about that. Find the power in it. Find the power in that. And say, okay, cool. I'm not going to allow my past to use me. I'm going to use it. Okay, you don't believe in me? Okay, cool. Well, that's your opinion. Oh, well, I believe in myself. You know how many people told me that I couldn't be a speaker? You know how many people told me that I wouldn't succeed in life after I wasn't more than an athlete? You know how many people told me that? I even told myself that. And now, look at me. I'm not saying this to impress you. I'm saying this to inspire you. And you guys know it. You guys know me better than anybody. You guys know me better than anybody. I now travel the world. I'm on a stage in August with people from Shark Tank. I just spoke to state formers agencies. I just spoke at a church. I'm everywhere. And all it took was a belief in myself which was a belief in God. I'm not calling myself God, but I know God is creating me. So if I believe in myself, I believe not believing in yourself is disrespectful to your creator. I believe it's disrespectful. It's like this is the person who created you, and basically you're saying, "Oh, you didn't create me enough." I believe that's disrespectful. And so I said I have to respect God by believing in myself. I like that, man. Whew. I had to respect God by believing in myself. And I started to do that. And I started to show up every single day, no matter what opinions or what stuff was happening, whatever. I started to show up every single day in my life. Hold on, let me turn this down. That's where that was coming from. Cool, there we go. I started to show up every single day, and I'm at a place where I'm at now. And I just hope that inspires you, man. Like I said, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to inspire you to show you, like, it's possible. If you're looking for an example of possibility, hello, how y'all doing? It's possible. Right? You guys seen that journey of me going from a lack of belief to total belief. And I'm sure if you really been following me the last 3 years, you probably seen this year, I'm on a whole nother level of belief. Like I'm in that maximum belief. Do I still question myself? Yeah, I'm human. But I'm in that maximum belief where I just feel like there's nothing I can't do if it's in the will that God has for my life. Okay? Last two things. When you're knowing your worth, when you're living your worth, you have the right influences in your life. This is tied into environment a little bit. But again, who around you everybody around you influences you. How they influences you is the question. So when you look at your life, when you look around your life and you got to have the right people influencing you. You have to. You got to have the right people influencing you that, hey, you worth it, man. Like that conversation. Like if you was around me, like now, right? If you was around me, I'm gonna tell you, like you tripping. You worth it. Like you've been through all that. That qualifies you. That you grew through all that. That helps other people get through all that. Like I would say that again. Like I would tell you, like because you would be like, oh man, my past and this is happening. I was like, man, you've been through all that. You grew through all that, and that's going to qualify you to help other people get through all that. You need those type of influences around you to remind you to believe in yourself. That helps you believe in yourself even more. I had a great friend that in the book, if you read it, I said, like, he said, there's something inside of you don't even see in yourself. He made me search for that. Just by saying it, like, I'm like, what is it inside of myself? Like, what is that person? You got to have those influences around you. I don't care if you get it from this group. I don't care if it's, hopefully you can find it offline too. I don't care if you go join go to a conference. And, I love personal development. I love this church conference, any type of conference, because it's the mindsets. Like people, if a person is coming somewhere, they have the mindset usually 99% of the time that I want to get better unless they were dragged there. But it's like, so I think a great place to go find influences, you might say, Trent, I don't have it, is conferences, whether it's church conferences, whether it's personal development seminars. Just find places where growth is and seek out people. Like the gym. We talked about this in one of the earlier trainings, I believe. A growth environment, how to find that growth environment. Like go find it, okay? Go find it. You need the right influences in your life. You have to have these in your life. And people who live their worth, they have the right influences in their life. And last but not least, and this is very important, when you know your worth, you don't compare your life. So let's be real. We all compare. We all do. But it's about not moving forward with your comparison. It's about having something that checks you like, hey, whoop. It's like if you're starting to compare, you have like an alarm that goes off and be like, compare alert, like you're about to compare yourself, stop it. And so that's what you need in your life. And that's what like I have. Of course, I don't have a like alert that really goes off, by the way. Wish I did. But when I started to compare, I'm like, wait a minute, that's their journey, that's their race. Especially with social media, because social media, it's people said that in the thing about them not knowing their worth, comparison, right? Social media, online stuff, looking out. When we run someone else's race, we usually burn out. When we try to go on someone else's journey, we end up being lost because we're not going on the trail that was meant for our life. We're trying to walk someone else's trail. We're trying to use someone else's map to our destination. And our map is probably different than their map. And so what we do is we compare, I have to look like this in order to be beautiful. Don't you know you're beautiful regardless? And the right people, the right influences around you will let you know that. I gotta have a following to make an impact. Don't you know you can make an impact? with one person? Don't you know that? So comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of worth. Comparison is the thief of life. You will always feel like you're enough by comparing your life to other people. So when you know your worth, when you know who you are, when you believe in yourself, when you know that you're good, when you know that you're great, not in an arrogant way, in a confident way, you're like, I don't have to compare my life to them. That's their life. Great for them. Praying for them. Good for them. But this is my life. But if you live in the comparison lane, you will always have trouble with knowing your worth. And I can guarantee if you're struggling with worth, probably one or all of these things are something that you struggle with or you're not doing. Right? You don't know you're created with worth. You don't fully accept yourself. You probably settle for less. You probably depend on external validation. You don't believe in yourself. You don't have the right influences around you, and you probably compare your life. And if you're doing all of those 7 things, it's almost impossible for you to actually feel like you're worth anything in that moment doing those things. But maybe what you do is you evaluate this tonight. And this is what I would do. I would write down these things, and maybe write down more, right? There's tons of things I can talk about, but these are just 7 main things in my life and when I took surveys that people talked about. But I would ask myself, do I know I'm created with worth? And if I don't, maybe I need to dive in a deeper spiritual relationship with God. All right, just my suggestion. Do I fully accept myself? I don't fully accept myself. Well, maybe I need to go back in my past and actually turn my pain into my power. And how did Trent say do that? He said by giving a different meaning to your pain, right? How is this strengthening me? How is this bettering me? If it wasn't for this, like maybe I wouldn't have learned this, or I wouldn't have met this person, or I wouldn't have showed up. You know, one of my favorite quotes that I've ever said was, because I said this when someone had left my life. I said, sometimes people leave your life not to, sometimes people will come into your life not to stay, just to introduce you to someone who will. How many times have you had that where somebody you came into your life, but you met another person through them, but the person that was there first is no longer a part of your life, right? So the third thing is, you know, if you're not knowing your worth, you're selling for less. So I would ask, like, why am I selling for less? Like, what areas in my life, like, why? Like, what's the reason why? Do I feel like I need to relate? Is it loneliness? Like, what's the trigger? What's the root issue of why I'm selling for less? And I would face that. I would attack that. I would challenge that. I would make sure I would understand the repercussions of selling for less down the line. My repercussion is, dang, I'm going to die unhappy. Dang, I'm going to die living an unfulfilled life. Dang, I'm going to die not meeting the greatest me. That's my leverage questions when it comes to that. The fourth thing when knowing your worth is maybe you are dependent on external validation. And if you're dependent on external validation, one of the easiest ways to lose yourself is trying to please everybody. The first step to happiness is trying to please everyone else, period. So if you're dependent on external validation, just know it's never going to be enough. And you're never going to feel enough because that is never going to be enough. You're going to need something else because there's going to be somebody somewhere sometime that doesn't like you. And so when you please a person that doesn't like you, then guess what? Another person doesn't like you. And you live a whole life like that. Or, oh, I need this job to make me feel whatever. But, you know, it's like, I talked about this yesterday. You know, I'm very careful with telling people to, like, you know, like to obtain certain things like money and, you know, like all these, and those things aren't bad. Like those things aren't bad, but those things aren't enough. And so I'm more interested in helping you find what's enough, you know, and when those other things come, you know, those things aren't controlling you because we think that we need some type of success, some type of status, some type of platform, some type of title to make us feel whole, to make us feel like we're worthy. But you're going to quickly realize once you get that, the newness is going to wear off. Have you ever had something that you bought, right? You really want it. Maybe it's a purse, ladies. Maybe it's some shoes, fellas. Maybe it's a car. Maybe it's a house. And you had maybe it's a relationship for some of you. But you had something you really wanted. And then after a while, it became normal to you. Like when you first had it, it was it was excellent, right? You were excited about it. Like you couldn't wait to get into that car, the newness smell. And after a year or two, probably 6 months, it just a car, right? We lose appreciation for the things that we're around a lot. And I want to tell you, it's going to happen the same thing with anything you're trying to obtain. You know, you say, I want to make $1 million. You think that when you get $1 million, you're going to be like, oh, you might be excited for a short period of time. But you know what? After that $1 million feel wears off, guess what's still there? You. The struggles, the pain, you not knowing your worth. Still there. So I'm not telling you to go be all you can be. Go be all you can be. But just don't depend on external things to make you feel good about yourself. You should feel good about yourself without any attachment. You should be feeling good about yourself because you're a human. You're you. There's nobody like you, Pam. There's nobody like you, Rhonda, Victoria, April, Cheryl, Michael, you know, Nadea, Sarah, Tanisha, Carol, Dee. There's no one like you. And when you truly embrace that and understand that, that's like where your superpower is you. Life becomes beautiful. It becomes beautiful because you appreciate the life that you've been given. And it's a thanks to God for creating you. All right? And last but not least, actually, no, not last but not least, when you know your worth, right? So if you don't know your worth, you probably not believing in yourself. And, you know, I think I talked about this enough tonight, but you should believe in yourself because, like I said, you're you. And you shouldn't allow failure, setbacks in your past to make you not believe in yourself. You shouldn't allow those things. You should allow those things to help you grow yourself. I'm a man full of failure. I don't like to use that word, but that word is something people relate to. I'm a man full of mistakes. I'm a man full of setbacks. I'm a man full of struggles. I'm a man full of fear. But I don't let those things define my life. I let those things refine my life. And as Lisa said, I'm my own superhero. That's facts. Right? When I became my own hero in my life, realizing that nobody's going to save me without me taking action in my own life, you know, I realized, well, that's when my life changed. Okay, last two things. If you don't know your worth, you probably don't have the right influences behind you. You guys, I don't need to really talk about this much because this is something I talk about 24/7, right? Everybody's your friend, know your circle, all those things, which probably be the next training, which will be know your circle. And we'll talk about the power of friendship and having the right people around you. But you need to have the right influences in your life. And we talked about how you can build that, how you can get that. And last but not least, you know, if you don't know your worth, you're probably comparing your life. You're probably trying to measure your life to someone else's life. And as long as you measure your life up to society, it'll never add up to what the world wants you to be. And my famous thing was breaking the ruler. We talked about that when we first started, right? We had those rulers broken. And, you know, if you got to get some rulers, and if you're new to inner circle, what the ruler is a symbolization of like anything that you're measuring your life with, right? Maybe it's, you know, or anything that's holding your life back. Maybe it's comparison. Maybe it's, money. Maybe it's, whatever. It can be anything that you're measuring your life up with that society is forcing you to. And I encourage everybody to break those rulers and have those rulers somewhere you can see them every single day. And it reminds you that I'm not going to compare my life anymore. I'm not going to compare my life. I'm going to appreciate my life. So there you have it, guys. This has been a Know Your Worth training. Different style, but I really felt special about tonight. I really felt that, hopefully all of you got some worth, no pun intended, out of this session. And what I want to do right now is I want to open up for Q&A for a bit. So I'm reading questions right now. Any questions you may have, ask. War Room, yeah. Actually, my friend is in that movie. It's a great movie. Oh, confidence tips, great. Thank you for reminding me that, Coach Rhonda. So I have a video coming out soon, but I'll spill the beans now. How to build confidence. It's pretty simple. I don't think I've shared this with you guys. If I have, I'm sharing it again. But when it comes to building confidence, I've always thought about, okay, like this is how I operate in my life. This is how I think. Okay, when have I been the most confident? And I think about, okay, well, why was I confident in that moment? Like, what did I do? And I go back to when I'm not confident. What do I do? And so, how you can build confidence is three simple things that I teach Tristan. And I feel like if a 10-year-old, can get and understand it, I think it's great for the world. So the first thing that you have to do is give yourself permission to not be perfect, guys. Give yourself permission to mess up. Give yourself permission to fail. Am I telling you to go fail on purpose? Absolutely not. But give yourself permission. Because as long as you're walking on perfection eggshells, as long as you're, trying to not mess up, you're probably gonna mess up. Has anybody ever did that when you're trying so hard not to mess up, you mess up? But you just go be free, right? Be free and go have fun. And not be reckless, but just be free and allow yourself, because when you're free, you tap into a different level than a containment. If you're operating being contained, right? Yes, you're over worried, as Ron said, exactly, right? You're worried about it so much. How can you operate at your maximum level of confidence with worry? You can't. It doesn't work like that. You can't operate in maximum confidence with doubt. So first thing is give yourself permission to fail, not be perfect. The second thing is visualize vividly. This is something that I've taught you guys, but I'll reiterate it. And visualize vividly is basically you mentally going to wherever it is that you're about to go, right? It could be a speech, it could be the greatest you, it could be tomorrow, it could be seeing yourself living full of worth. You vividly go there. Like, what are you doing? What are you saying? Like, how is it playing out? So if I go to my speaking engagements, I vividly see myself walking out on the stage. I vividly see myself interacting with the crowd. I vividly see myself. I vividly see the crowd. I see myself going through my points. I see my energy. I go through that 5 times at least. I teach this to myself on the football field. I said, vividly see yourself, because what happens is that when you go there that many times mentally, when you show up physically, it doesn't feel like the first time. Right? You have more confidence in that moment because your brain has already processed, like, wow, I've already been here so many times, right? So visualize vividly. I would write that down somewhere, maybe on your mirror or something, like visualize vividly, visualize vividly. It's a tongue twister. And the third thing is, with confidence, is remind yourself of your greatness. Like, make the world respect your greatness. Remind yourself. I had to remind myself the other day. I was speaking at the Rise conference. It was about 3,800 women there. And women are a tough audience, Guys are too, but you have 3,800 women, and you're the only like male personal development, if you want to put me in that category, speaker. You got to bring it, especially when you're a guest speaker on someone else's stage. And I went through a moment briefly of like questioning myself, like, dang, am I supposed to be here? And then I snapped out of it. I said, okay, you're about to operate in fear and self-doubt. Boop, that alarm went off, like self-doubt alert. And I immediately go to reminding myself, like, you're supposed to be here, right? They brought you here. And it's because you've proven yourself over the last decade of being the guy for self-worth, of being the guy to go on stage and light people on fire, right? That's who you are, to go out there and impact lives. And these are the conversations I'm having myself in the mirror. Like, you earned this position. They wouldn't have put you in this position if they couldn't trust you in this position. And so it's the same thing with your life. I know it might be a little different. What you're trying to have confidence in is, remind yourself, like, I'm here. There's a reason why I'm here. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason. You've earned it. You've earned the position. You've earned the title. Right? You earned the spot. You earned it. You earned it. And so remind yourself of that when you're feeling in self-doubt, when you're feeling whatever you're going to do. So that's how you build confidence. Those 3 simple things. And I promise you, if you really do those things, you will lessen fear and build more confidence. How do you let go of people who are in a negative place and are not good for you? So Tiara asks, how do you let go of people? How do you move on? So there's different ways. If you don't have my book, I would definitely tell you to read Burning Bridges. But if you're meaning like conversation wise, I would have a conversation with him or her, and I would tell him, like, hey, this is my standards of my life. This is where I want to go. I'm not going to settle for less. And if you want to use a tactic, art communication, another rehab process where you show appreciation, you show reassurance, and then you place your concern to get people, to get the environment in a better place for a conversation, right? Especially a conversation that might be kind of intense. So it's art communication. The A is for appreciation, right? You say how much I appreciate you. The R is for reassurance. Hey, listen, like I want the best for your life, but I want the best for me too. And then C, you place your concerns. So your concern would be, listen, like you're a great person. You're a good person, but you're just not, oh, I would say it like that because it's kind of, you're just not good for my life. I would say that. But I would say you're a good person. You're a great person. I'm trying to go here. This is where I want to go. In order for me to go here, I cannot be here. I cannot do the same things. I cannot be around this environment. Monsters are very contagious. So if you want to grow with me, let's do it. But if not, I want to just let you know and give you the respect that I'm growing anyway. Right? I'm growing anyway. And I'm going to be unapologetic about it because I don't want to die. I don't want to die not meeting the best version of myself or not trying to. And I cannot settle for my life because settling is killing me. Or you can even, I wouldn't place it on them because that's kind of a tactic, but you could even say like, do you care about me? Right? You care about me. You really do. You love me? Well, if you love me, then you would free me because you know that this is not good for my life. And that's hard because they are good people that just aren't good for you. And so that's what I would do. Now, some people say, some people just ghost them and just move on and they get the point. I don't recommend that because I believe everybody deserves a conversation, especially with somebody that's good for your life. But, you have to really get in tune about where you want to go and where you want to grow. And maybe is this too. Maybe I don't know exactly your situation, but maybe it's a limited, what's the word I'm looking for? Like maybe it's boundaries that you set with that person. So maybe you have limited time with them, right? Maybe you see them every once in a while, and then over time, maybe if it's real, it might grow back together. If it's not, then it's not. I have friends that I still consider my friends. I just don't spend as much time around them because I know they're not in the same place that I'm in. And that's okay. I understand their season. I respect their season, and they respect mine, and we have that understanding. So I hope that helped a bit. It's a lot. Let's see. All right, Michael, peace out, brother. It's an old friend. So yeah, Tara, it's a friend. So you have that conversation if that's worth having it. And I would just talk about it like that. Like this is where I want to go. This is where I want to move to, etc. Okay. Christy said, "Were you ever just angry? How do you get past the anger that life is taking a detour and it's slow?" Angry, like with God. You said angry with the detour. Yeah, I'll read yours. I'll read about three more. Actually, I'll read a few more. Nefeli, I got you. Christy, were you just ever angry? To answer that question, yes, I was. I was angry at God. If you know my story, I was lost. My everything with limitations. Oh, like explain it, Christy, to me. Like explain like what you mean exactly, so I can answer your question. Let me see. How do you get past the anger that life is taking a detour? Oh, so are you? So Christy, you're not basically football lost. It was your goal, right? So basically, got you. So you're not basically you want to be somewhere and you're not there yet, and it's taking longer than what you expected, or taking detours, and you're kind of mad and angry, like you may be putting in work, you're not seeing the results. So it's a few things. And I don't know if I can wrap it up in a short form answer, but I would tell you this. So with me, yeah, I was angry. I was upset, um, and I was mad, right? That things weren't working out my way. But I realized life is not about your way. And this is the hard part of life, right? This is like the thing to figure out, the thing to understand. I believe, me personally, with my faith, there's God's way, there's our way. Sometimes those things go hand in hand, right? But sometimes they don't. And so my way was football. That was my way. But I realized I made a video about this today. I'll probably post it, a few days from now on Instagram. But I realized that sometimes things can't work out your way so they can go the right way. And sometimes you have to go through places you don't understand. Look at this, Christy. Where is it at? Yeah, right there. Right? Sometimes you got to go through places you don't understand just to bring you to the place, just so God can bring you to the place where He needs you to be. And so sometimes, you know, rejection is just redirection. And it doesn't make sense while you're in the storm. It doesn't make sense during the time. But now I look back in my life and I'm like, that's why that happened. That's why kept getting cut when I felt like I was balling out. That's why that league folded when I just got signed to it. Like that's why I'm writing this in my new book, and my author that I'm working with is like, bro, like every door that you tried to open with football just closed right in your face. Like you would succeed in the door closed, door closed. Obviously, there's something more for your life. So when you're going through this, it's about, as someone said, journaling out your problems, talking to God, and just trying to trust Him and realize, okay, there's something more purposeful for my life. You know, when I get rejected, when I get told no, it's the first thing I go to. I go to something that's going to serve me. There's something more purposeful for my life. And also this, it's about faith. Faith is believing the odds are beatable even when the odds are impossible. And faith and championship mindset, if you haven't watched that training, watch the faith part. Because faith is also knowing this. You know, maybe things are working out. You just can't see it. You know, maybe, sometimes we think success, or use the word success, is a straight line path. It's not. Success is full of all of that type of stuff. Anybody who's been successful at something, and building a company or whatever, has taken major detours. Detours is like the perfect road to your success because it's part of the process. And so you have to trust the process. You have to, because the process teaches you things that a perfect road could never teach you, right? It shows you places, it brings you different places, right? It's part of the journey. And so I forgot where I was going with that, but I would just tell you to keep trusting the process. Oh yeah, there we go. And it's like the gardener's mindset I always talk about. A gardener knows that as long as he keeps watering, as long as he keeps, attending to the seed, right, taking care of the things they need to take care of, putting in the work, the gardener knows that even they can't even see signs of growth on top of the surface. They know that roots are taking place, growth is taking place, and eventually, at the right time, which is usually not our time, but it's God's timing, that crop, that harvest will take place in your life. And so just got to stay the course and keep the faith. Let's see what we got. So frustrating, right? I understand what you said about. Okay, I'm reading another question. So, I told someone I would answer their question. Can you please write the question? Yep, I get it. Surrender to the process and don't focus on the detour, right? Oh, okay. I want to hear what I think about what. Where's this question at? Since y'all talking in here. I don't even know what y'all talking about. Yes, is it Nefeli? I'm probably saying your name all wrong, but yeah, I want your question because I told y'all to answer, and then I want to know what y'all are talking about because Ashley said I want to hear what Trent thinks too. About what? And Pam said, Trent, how do you find a mentor in public speaking to be an influencer? You reach out. I mean, just like anything else, you reach out, and I would say bring value to that person. Work for them for free is a great way to find mentors. You go out there and say, hey, I'll work for you for free. Anywhere I can bring value to you, I'll work for you for free for 3 months. Just mentor me. So just let me learn from you. That's the best way to do it. I pronounce your name correctly? There we go. How do you deal with your family putting you down and not making you feel worthy and trying to build a wedge between you and your 14-year-old nephew? All right. Let me put on, okay. This is a super deep question. Is that the way I was talking about? All right. So, how do you deal with your family putting you down and not making you feel worthy? Okay, so stick with me as I work through this. So, the thing that I love to say is life is less about what happens to you, more about how you respond to what happens to you. I love to say change your environment. You change your environment, you change your life. But in your case, sometimes you just can't change your environment, right? I'm not sure how old you are in your situation, but sometimes your environment can't change. You just can't. So what do we do? Well, if we can't change our environment, there's no absolutely way we can change it. We can limit our interactions because sometimes we have to limit interactions with those we love. I'm not an advocate for breaking up families. I really want people to work together. I really want people to fix things, and because we need strong family structures, we need to build positive cycles. I'm really big on that with being a father of three, well, four. We have a dog now, and a baby on the way. But there's a few things you need to understand so it doesn't hurt you. Number one is you can't take it personal. I know that you are taking it personal, but when people throw feelings at you, guys, somebody tell me what I'm about to say. When people throw feelings at you, you got to remember the facts about your life. So when people are being negative, when people are being rude, when people are trying to separate you from your nephew, you got to know the facts about you. You have to know the facts about you, and you have to really know the truths. What did God say about you? How has God created you? Who are you, right? Who have you consistently shown that you are? Who have you consistently shown up as? So when people say, Trent, you don't care about people, I laugh at it. I'm like, okay, that's what you think, but I know I care about people. I know the way I serve. I know what I do. I know the facts. Facts over feelings, okay, will help you not take it personal. Second thing is I want you to understand is that someone who gives hurt to people has been hurt. The famous quote is hurt people hurt people. So it's a cycle that they're dealing with. Now, you have to, I don't know their situation. Like I said, if you have to take responsibility, right? If it's something that you did, not saying that you did, but if it's something like, you could better the situation, take that responsibility first. You always have to, it all starts with you. But if you have done everything you can, if you didn't play a part in this at all, then you have to understand that they're probably hurt. And the best way for hurt people in their mind to heal themselves is to hurt other people, is to give pain. They deal with their pain by giving pain. And so when you understand that, it helps you not take it as personal because oh, like this person is hurt. It's not me that they don't like. They don't like themselves. Oh, they're struggling with their own life. Oh, okay. Like I 100% guarantee you, if you show me anybody who like lives to like hurt people or like just like does that, just I 100% guarantee you they're not happy with their life. 100%. There's nobody who's happy with their life, truly happy and fulfilled that goes around. It's like Mother Teresa. Like, could y'all see Mother Teresa like going out there hurting people? You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Like when someone is truly happy with themselves, they don't do that. Like I don't do that. I don't go around just hurting people. Like for what? Not intentionally, for sure. So you understand that so you don't take it as personal. And the third thing I would tell you is if you can't change the situation, you have to change your mindset towards it. And so the mindset towards it is exactly those things that I told you. So now you don't take it as personal. Now you see, okay, they're hurt, and you change your mindset towards the situation. You change your mindset towards it, and that's how you deal with it. Now, I mean, there's deeper processes where, having a conversation and getting down to the root issues. And, I would definitely have a counseling session. I would suggest that, like, what's the problem? Because I hate to see families do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy to me to see that. Like, families fighting each other and battling each other. Like, y'all are family, y'all are blood, y'all supposed to be together. Separating your nephew. And like I said, I would want to know the reasons why. What's their reasons, too? But that's just, without me knowing the whole situation, that would be my advice to you. All right. Cool. Last question, guys. We've been away for 83 minutes and 24 seconds. Let me see what other question we got. They aren't taking care of me after surgery. That sucks. But you know what? As much as you want them to, as I always tell myself, ain't nobody obligated to take care of me but me. And the more you can understand that, the more you can realize that. Jesse said, don't pick me. Lisa said the outings. Yeah, Lisa, we would have been had the TIC out of as you see. Like my life is crazy with this book right now. So hopefully we can do something in the fall because I'm not gonna do an event till next year with the baby coming. So I have a baby on the way. I have a lot going on. So hopefully we can do something like fall time, a retreat. Because I do want to do a protect your peace retreat. I just got to figure out logistics for that once everything dies down. But the book is starting to die down as far as me traveling with media, so I have more time to actually focus on that. But I'm not going to take that as a question. Hannah, what's up, Hannah? Congratulations on your first job, Hannah. I'm super proud of you. Like, go crush it. Okay, cool. Jesse, how do you deal with a business how do you deal with businesses your competitors want to use against your pass against you? So here you go, Jesse. I'm always into controlling what you can control. And I don't know if you just saw my last video, but not the last one, but one of my last ones. I think it was Time to Move On, where I say, you can't control gossip. You can't control how people feel about you. You can't control the rumors they spread about your life. You can't control it. And so the best way, where people say, the best revenge is moving on, because this is my thing. There's people who talk about me. There's people who say, "Oh, Trent, I know Trent, or I knew Trent, or maybe I didn't give them the reaction or the response that they wanted. Oh, Trent doesn't really care about people." That's out there. Somebody doesn't like me. I'm human, but I know that the best response is my character. The best response is controlling what I can control. The best response is making sure that when other people come to me or see me that might have got that information from someone else, they look at me like, nah, that dude wrong. Like, I don't know what he did to them, but he's an awesome person. So I would tell you to focus on what you can control. Make sure what they say is not true, right? Your past is your past. I would use my past. I would tell people about it. Be like, listen, this was my past. This is what I did. That's how I built my story. I'm not afraid and ashamed to talk about my past. Read my first chapter of my book. I talk all about that. But that's my part of my story. And so I think the more you own it, right? We talked about that. The more you own your past, then they can't use it against you anymore. And they feel stupid for it. So when somebody says, "Oh, Trent, you used to party, you used to do this and do that," I'd be like, all right, okay. Like, I've been talked about that. I own that. I call it the 8 Mile. You remember 8 Mile with Rabbit, the movie with Eminem? I call it the 8 Mile mentality. Like, just own it. Just like we did on that last freestyle battle. He owned it. And he's just like, all right, this is who I am. So when you own it, they can't use it against you. And if they do, it's like, all right, cool. That's a part of my story. It made me who I am. It gave me experiences that I wouldn't have had. I'm not proud of it, but you know what? The things I'm not proud of allow me to be the man that I'm proud of today. So think about that. And this is my comeback with them too. Yep, that's what I used to do. That's who I used to be. This is who I am now. Isn't God good? So we never can control those things, and competitors will do that, but it just tells you that they're threatened by you too. Like, if they got to use those type of tactics to take business away from you, that should tell you that they're focused on the wrong thing. I'm a football player, right? I'm not focused on the opponent. I'm focused on, like, I take the Floyd Mayweather mentality. Floyd said he don't even watch film with his opponents, right? He just take care of what he know he needs to take care of, and if he takes care of what he needs to take care of, then everything else will take care of itself. And so if they're focused on you, that means they're not focused on their growth. They're not focused on what they should be focused on. They can turn that energy and focus on their business, but they're focused on you. So I would take it as a compliment. It don't sound like a hater to me. It sounds like someone who truly admires your life and admires your business. They just have too much ego, pride, and jealousy to tell you that. Cool, guys. Well, I'm out of here. I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday. I actually released the video. We released it in a weird way, so some of you might not have saw it, but I released a rehab session video. I'm going to start releasing these every so often. It's a three-part series. We just released the first part. It was me having a conversation with a friend of mine that I know, a friend of Shane, who does my production, and he's really going through a lot, like just a real raw conversation. And I think it's a beautiful conversation, and I suggest you guys listen to it. I'm releasing a new video tonight. You probably, it's a video I post on Instagram, but I'll post on here tonight on Facebook. So I actually might go live tonight too. It just depends. So thank you. Yes, I will be doing some more morning lives. I will commit to a certain time and date when I'm not getting called randomly every single day to do interviews. So I don't want to say I'm going to be on Monday and not show up. All right. So I don't want you guys waiting around and scheduling your day around that. But I will be doing it. I will be popping in, throughout the week. It's just, you got to catch me. If not, just watch the replay. And thank you again. I appreciate you guys for sticking with me tonight. Appreciate you guys for working towards the greatest you. And I hope that you understand what knowing your worth is all about. If you did, go back in the group, share your notes, talk about it, tell other people that aren't here to make sure they go watch this if they're trying to know their worth. Feel free to tag me on Instagram about it. Feel free to send me a video on Instagram. Like if you want to, send a stories on stories and do stories about it so I can repost you. So we can share TIC with the world and your growth with the world. But like I tell you, at the end of every single video, it all starts with you.